coming.
Hello, my name is Adam Ferrari, the Chief Executive Officer of Phoenix Energy. I look forward to you joining us at our next investor webinar, where you can drill deeper into our 9 to 13% annual interest rate bond offerings and see how our company has become an emerging leader in the oil and gas industry.
The tariffs will be in place in the not distant future because, as you know, like we did with steel, like we did with automobiles, like we did with aluminum, which are now fully on, we'll be doing that with semiconductors, with chips, and numerous other things. And that'll take place in the very near future. You have to show a certain flexibility. Nobody should be so rigid. You have to have a certain flexibility.
The president also indicating that new tariffs are coming on pharmaceuticals. Economists warning that could raise, well, one, the cost of prescription drugs for patients and also worsen what are already serious drug shortages. This morning, we're getting some new insight, as I mentioned, about how Americans are feeling about all of this right now. A new CBS YouGov poll finds that 56% now disapprove of how the president is handling the economy. Also happening today, a not-to-miss meeting in Washington. The European Union's trade chief expected to sit down with his American counterparts after the United States and the EU paused their reciprocal tariffs on each other for 90 days. So let the negotiations begin. CNN's Elena Train joining us right now from the White House. Good morning, Elena. Where do things go today?
I mean, you put it exactly the way I'm framing it, Kate, which is just we are kicking off another week of economic uncertainty. That comes as, of course, President Trump announced last night that he will be imposing new tariffs on the semiconductor industry in the coming days, really kind of confirming that the so-called reprieve that we saw this White House give China and their electronics industry, not really so much of a reprieve. Now, just to get into this a little bit more, on Friday, the White House issued what they called a, quote, clarification of exemptions, which revealed that consumer electronics would be exempt from the tariffs that they imposed on Beijing. Now, at first, this did look like another pleasing market come down, but then yesterday, we really heard the president's top economic advisors kind of muddy the waters, kind of add more uncertainty and confusion to all of this when they did a tour of the Sunday shows. Listen to what they said.
The policy is no exemptions, no exclusions. The policy is in effect. No, there were not exclusions.
What he's doing is he's saying they're exempt from the reciprocal tariffs, but they're included in the semiconductor tariffs, which are coming in probably a month or two.
What happened is, it's not really an exception. That's not even the right word for it. What happened is this type of supply chain moved from the tariff regime for the global tariff, the reciprocal tariff, and it moved to the national security tariff regime.
So, Kate, it is an exemption. It's not an exemption. It's a clarification. All to say they are continuing to muddy the waters here, just pushing more confusion around this broader tariff plan. And as we know, what is true one day is not necessarily true 24 hours later. We saw that happen last week. But I think the bottom line here is that where a lot of people were kind of celebrating these exemptions or these pause on some of these electronic goods, we are now learning that that is a temporary thing as these more sector-specific semiconductor tariffs are expected to come into play in the near future. And also, just to take a broader step to mention that polling, I think this is pretty significant. The new CBS YouGov polling says that 56% of Americans disapprove of the president's handling of the economy. That is up from 52% on March 30th and 49% on March 2nd, all to say not the direction that this White House wants those numbers going.
Check this out. I'm going to
All right, guys. So you see that there's a lot of mixed signals, a lot of mixed messages with the administration. I'm going to be honest with you. I really feel like he's uncertain himself. You know, I think he's just trying things just to see what will work at this point because, you know, the bullying is not working. Like I said, it's not there. He's not getting the response that he was thinking he was going to get with these tariffs. So we'll just have to keep looking at it and see. I mean, we'll give it some more time. But as you can see, those poll numbers are not playing. So people's like, hey, what is going on? You know, so. But anyway, y'all, let's go on to the next subject. We're going to talk about Michelle Obama's podcast. Like I said, I watched an episode just a day or so ago with Tracee Ellis Ross. And this was a very good interview. Let's just listen in, and then I'm going to let you know how I feel about this particular video.
You know, it's sort of innocently sweet, and it's not so hard over the head. Like, can you stand alone in a room?
That's why I like the question, because I would ask that all wrong.
Right. That's just the thing.
I would ask that.
Are you
same
an
question.
insecure, trifling ass?
That is exactly right.
Are you so insecure?
Yeah.
That
Are
you
you
can't handle
uncomfortable with my
strong
bigness?
woman? That's right. You know, and then,
I would ask it all wrong.
That's,
He would be
Because
squashed
I
from the
am a
start.
boss. I am a boss.
I'm a boss. Are you okay being the
can
fellow?
you level up? Can you level up? And then he's running away going, I don't, it's like,
He's aggressive.
How you doing?
I'm doing great. Yeah, feeling good. Another day, alive. We're getting to that age where, you know,
No, we're not.
I'm just blessed to have woken up, got up. You don't think we're at that age? You're older than me. Well,
yes.
we are.
Yeah, but
We are in our 60s, my friend.
I know, but I'm hoping I got a good 20 more left. That's what I'm
Okay.
shooting for, at least.
But, you know, we're at the age now where, you know, it's not so tragic.
I know. Well, did you get enough rest last night, old lady?
I did. You know, the girls came over for dinner, and I was so tired that I left them at the table, which is unusual because I love hanging out with my girls, but I was that sleepy. I was like, you know what? Mom's going to bed. You can sit here and talk to your dad.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got to bed early and had
Good,
plenty of sleep.
good.
How's your Airbnb feeling?
Oh my gosh.
Still
It is.
happy with your situation?
I'm so happy that I did not go to dinner last night. I left here
just to stay in your
just to be able
Airbnb
to
house?
chill in my Airbnb in West Hollywood. And guess who visited me this morning to do their laundry?
Who?
Leslie. You know, my daughter's in town here, and she came over to bring her laundry to do. I mean, that's
Why does she
I
have laundry? How long has she been here?
Because she works out every day.
Oh, okay.
So she had a whole bag full of gym clothes and with underwear and stuff, and just put it in. And I was like, "Yeah, come on over." And then we had breakfast, and then she went to meetings.
Yeah.
And I think she's going to come stay with me tonight. So
Well, I'm learning a lot about the Airbnb life since we don't do
Since
that.
you don't get to do it,
But the
yeah.
girls do.
Yeah.
Malia and Sasha, whenever they're traveling.
And so our kids, Avery and Leslie and Emily and Elena, they have no qualms about let's go, let's find a place.
It's really a different intergenerational use. I mean, young people, they like being in a home. Well, a lot of times when they're traveling, they're sharing with their friends. They're dividing up a house, and you know. So,
and
I just want to say something. I just like the fact that they are so natural with this. You know what I'm saying? This is what I like about this particular podcast. It's just so authentic. They're not trying to put on no airs. They're just having a great conversation, brother and sister. Okay, so, but just watch this interview with Tracee Ellis Ross. This is pretty interesting.
And so without any further ado, Tracee Ellis Ross.
Tracee!
How are you? I'm so good.
Like I said, family.
I do feel like family.
We got family in the house.
Really interesting conversation, and I took some notes. I took notes in my head, and I actually wrote them down out there because you said there's a lot you can learn about who a guy is or who a person is by how they are on the court.
Yes.
They let their guard down.
They let their guard down,
It's
and their
really
character
interesting.
comes out.
I think I could have used that information. I think I'm a little late on adding that to my list of how to figure out if he's a match.
There's
still time.
Noted now. There's still time because I'm still single. So noted now.
You know, there's still
Guy out
time.
there breaking his hip trying to play basketball.
Yeah, no, it's got to be a different measure now. 'Cause,
I know.
right, you know, I made Barack put his basketball shoes up once he got his lip busted when he was in the White House playing
my
a pickup
goodness.
game. Yeah, I don't think many people realize this because he was definitely in shape, athletic. And I remember because you were at that pickup game.
Yes.
And I'm in the White House, actually in the doctor's office. getting an exam. So they're playing in one of the admin gyms, and we get the call. We hear that the agents are like, renegades coming back. There's been an accident, and I'm like, ugh, because I'm always like, be careful playing basketball. You shouldn't be playing now. You now have a real important job.
Yeah, people are depending on you.
And literally he's coming in with a gauze thing on his
his God.
lip.
He didn't need stitches or anything.
He needed like 30 something stitches. His lip was, I saw it. It was like he took the thing away and I was like, your lip. And he had some major speech. This was probably Saturday. He had some major speech on Monday. And I was like, this is what I'm saying. You're playing like you're 10 and now your lip is split. So we digress because
that's okay.
no longer are we dating people?
No, but I am.
Yeah, I was about to say. I was like, Tracee's, my girl.
Yeah,
I mean, the tales from the road.
And I bring stories home. I bring back to Michelle
stories. I'm like, what's happened in the last several months?
And it's always eventful.
It's always good.
Well, the thing is, I stay open.
Mm-hmm.
I'm probably
way open.
Yes. Oh my God, that sounded so wrong.
I didn't mean that, Mom.
My heart,
your family,
my heart stays open.
Your heart
more open than it should.
Yes.
That was
right. All right.
More open than it should be, but I do date, and it's a fascinating adventure out there. Mostly though, I think there's really good men out there. I think to a certain extent, I'm a very unique sort of unicorn of a woman, and so it's going to take a unique person.
Mm-hmm.
And in the meantime, I've really learned how to live my life and enjoy it and not sit around waiting. I was saying to someone recently that I'm one of the first generations of choice, and it's not anymore, which really, there was a window and that has shifted. And I do think that that's going to change dating for women so much.
When you mean you've been the sort of the product of choice.
Yeah, like the assumption of Roe v. Wade and the ability for a woman to find her own delight and pleasure and choice around how she navigates dating or how one would navigate dating. And we're in a different world now. And I'm curious what that will look like. It frightens me for younger girls because of many reasons, obviously. But even with the systemic protection of Roe v. Wade, I still was coming up against the cultural norms of being a choiceful woman and owning my own body and my own choices and what it is that I'm looking for in a relationship and the ability to negotiate in a relationship what it is you want the relationship to be between the two of you, as opposed to what society says it should be.
Well,
that's different.
I don't know that we're going to lose that. I think women, we're used to having a say in our lives. And I don't know whether the whole movement is about sort of reharnessing us, whether is it really about,
and can that really work?
Rights? Can that really work now that women are educated and we're being raised differently? I mean, the truth is that fathers are modernized.
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
mostly.
Mostly they are, and if you were to ask the average man, how are you raising your daughter? Because you love her. The average father that loves their daughter wants them to be excellent, and they want them to have opportunity and freedom. When you think about you don't want your daughter marrying some guy that chose her because he just didn't think about anything else and
who believes that her body is his choice.
Exactly. So I don't think a lot of leaders are thinking about that. You know?
Well, and they haven't been asked to, because I think it's not always a context that if it's an area that you don't have to think into,
right?
But I think there is it is a genuine regular thought process for me. It's one of the reasons, I mean, we've talked about this, that often I date younger men. And a lot of it is because...
Let's stop on that, folks.
Oh my God, we had a great dinner. We had a great dinner, by the way, where across the table, your husband goes, but why? And I said, well, maybe because I can.
Yes. This is what I'm saying. Tales from Tracee's. It's fun. It's very fun to share. Tracee Tale. But I'm sorry. But one of the reasons, though, that because I had to ask myself that question, I was like, what is this about? Yeah. Because I want a partner, and so often, and it's not just that I'm older. I'm also very embodied. I am a full, very whole person who knows myself, who is in charge of my life, and who lives a very full, just robust life. So it's not just age, it's like life experience and sort of a difference. But I had to ask myself the question, why? Why does this keep sort of coming up other than they're hot and gorgeous? There's that. But a lot of men my age are steeped in a toxic masculinity and have been raised in a culture where there is a particular way that a relationship looks. And anything that starts to smell of that for me, I did enough of it where I was controlled and felt like I was a possession or whatever those things were, or prize, I have no interest in it, and I will not do it again. I'm sorry.
No,
Craig.
I was going to say, it's a generational thing. So it didn't matter how you met them, or is it just kind of the guys you're meeting?
That's obviously
too big of a generalization.
It's a generalization, but because I have dated men my age, there is a difference. There is an openness that occurs with a younger man around whether it's gender fluidity or not even having an issue with homosexuality. I mean, something as basic as that there's times where I'll be, sitting across the table from somebody and just like, what did you just say?
Yeah, what century are you?
Like, oh my God.
Where's your horse and buggy?
Yeah, like, I'm so sorry.
And your bedpan.
Yeah, for real.
Chamber pot.
Yeah, your chamber pot. Your chamber pot. Like, where I'm just like, this is not a match. And I have long been past the age where I feel like it's my job to teach somebody or grow them up. That I'm not interested in. So, but it's interesting. I mean, there's so many different philosophies on dating, and I have come up with mine. I have come up with what works for me and what makes sense for me and what feels safe for me. I mean,
yeah, you can see this is a very good interview with Tracee Ellis. I like the openness of all of this. People are just being themselves. They're just relaxed. They're just everyday people. They're famous people. But I like the fact that you're seeing a side of people that they're just letting their hair down and they're just expressing how they feel right on camera. This show allows people to say what they want and to be heard and to understand where they're coming from. Like Tracee said, she likes to date younger men. She said, I'm not interested in older. And I'm starting to see a lot of women that way, especially older women, even women my age. They like younger. It's because of the energy. It's it's sometimes it's the attraction, but hey, good for her. If she wants to date somebody younger, there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. As long as you're happy, that's really all that matters. I don't care what the age is, so. But I just want to give you a clip of this for tonight, just so you can see that, I think people need to really start looking at this show. This show is doing really well, and she's had some good guests on here. So I just wanted to kind of touch bases on this because I know I hadn't really talked about it. Not just about 2 months ago, we had kind of introduced the show. But as you can see, having some great guests so far, and I am really digging this show. So, but anyway, guys, I'm going to go ahead and cut it down for tonight. I will be back tomorrow at 8 o'clock. We're going to do that ESPN edition, and we're going to cover back into the sports mode, okay? Yeah, so if you enjoyed the content, please hit like, share, and subscribe. And also, you can hit the notification bell, and that will let you know when I come on to YouTube. You won't miss any episodes. Okay, guys? All right, well, I will see y'all tomorrow at 8 o'clock. Again, catch me for the ESPN edition. We're going to cover that NBA highlights for the week. And I wish everyone have a great rest of your night. Y'all have a great night. See you tomorrow night. Bye-bye.